What is going on, y'all? Johnson's Logic. I'm gonna drop this video. It's talking about fuel. I'm sorry it's a little lengthy. I just noticed that I guess when I'm outside of the truck, I don't really have a super huge desire to record, which I need to work on, and I'm gonna work on it. So I apologize, but it's really just a video breakdown of how I make more money at Prime. So it's a little bit lengthy, at least for me anyway. It's about 12-13 minutes long, somewhere around there, probably about 14, somewhere like that. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. If you need further advice, and I say all this in the video, but I just want to come and say it up front for the intro. If you need any further advice or any further not really instruction, anything further, like further questions, leave a comment down below. Come join us over on Discord. Come join us on the Driver Lineup forum over at driverlineup.com. Find me, Johnson's Logic, on all those platforms. You can find my Instagram, link in the description. Anything of that nature, drop it down below. I will answer all those questions. So enjoy the video. I think I'm in one of those places, those new customer places, because I'm getting a ton of dirty looks from all these container drivers. I believe Prime has managed themselves a new contract, I'm guessing, or maybe they've always been here. We don't pick up here often, but but with me having, cargo containers aren't all 53 feet. And so I'm taking up a good portion, and they put me in the first door right in front of the entrance. Put me in the first door right in front of the entrance, and I'm blocking up like a good portion of the driveway. But I mean, they had me slide my tandems back and bump the dock. But I mean, it's not really my fault. But all these container drivers coming in are like just staring me down. Not my fault though. But so we're gonna talk about fuel. Like I said in the intro, first of all, I want to dedicate this video to Driver Lineup. So this video has been long time coming. So this goes out to Driver Lineup, specifically Eric, the fuel waster. But this is how I generally make more money than a lot of lease operators here at Prime. I feel like I can say that with pretty good confidence. One, you learn this stuff in ACE 2. I just kind of take it to heart, but also there's a lot more to it than just just listening to the fuel recommendation. Because number one, I'm gonna go ahead and start off front, I don't all the time listen to the fuel recommendation. Now, I will say I do run it every trip, but I run it to get a general understanding of where Prime thinks how far my truck will make it before I run out. And so I look, obviously before I, leave for a day. It doesn't matter if I'm on a one-day trip or a trip that's going to take a couple days. I make sure I look at it first, before I do my pre-trip. I'll wake up, go do what I got to do in the mornings. And then, yeah, I was going a little too fast this thing. Sorry. And then I'll actually, after I take care of myself in the mornings, I'll come back to my truck, and right before I start doing my pre-trip, I'll pull up my routing, check my route, see how many miles I got, whatever the case may be, if it's a couple days or a single day. I need to dust in here. This thing is so dusty. But I pull up my routing on my GPS, which I am going to do a review on the Garmin Diesel 1000 I have sitting here. It's come to my attention that I've only actually, well, one, couple of you guys commented about it, and then two, I haven't really seen a lot of videos talking about it. I think this thing is fantastic, but I will do a review video on that. Anyway, so I pull up my Garmin, check my routing, pull up my Qualcomm, my Navigo that I do pay for from Prime. I check the routing on that. I compare the two. About 8 times out of 10 they match up pretty well, unless there's like traffic or a shut down highway somewhere. Obviously Navigo won't know that, but my Garmin will because it's paired with my phone. Coming up on the review. But I always double check my routing. And along that routing, I will see where the fuel recommendation wants me to stop. I'll see how many miles it is. And I know my fuel tank pretty well now that I've been in the Volvo about 2 months now. I understand, if I'm at wherever the fuel hand is, I know how many miles is actually going to be. Now, one thing I will say, and that's one thing about the Volvos, is it actually tells me how many gallons I have left in the truck, and it actually tells me how many miles I have left until empty. Now, if you have a Freightliner or Peterbilt, it does not do that. So what I've come to learn is to ignore it because it's off. Just like on the Freightliners. I think when I was driving my Freightliner, my fuel tank was about 31 gallons more than what if the truck showed I was empty, I actually had about 31 gallons left. Now here is about the same thing. So I've actually tested it. This truck is actually off by about 37 gallons, and I brought it up to the Volvo dealership when I took the truck in to the shop, and they said they adjusted it, and I haven't seen any improvement. So it is what it is. But luckily, like I said, I really take this fueling thing to a different level because that's my bread and butter. Like, that's how I make a majority of my money. Like, if me and a Prime driver take the exact same amount of loads, exact same amount of trip, same exact amount, I'm pretty sure I messed up all those words, the same exact amount of loads, trips, miles, and routing, but he listens to the fuel macro and I feel the way that I do, I guarantee I'll make more money than that person on that week. Obviously it also depends on the truck as well. So like if he's getting 11 miles to the gallon and I'm getting 9.5, obviously it's going to be off. But let's just, for example's sake, same truck, same fuel mileage, or same fuel consumption, same idling thing, stuff like that. Everything's the same except how or where we fuel. Like if that lease operator shows on the fuel recommendation that they are going to fill up, and the trip is only like 430 miles, if their fuel recommendation shows that they should fill up and they do that, me personally, I fuel by the load. So like, for example, going back to that load I had a beer load leaving out of New York going to Jacksonville, Florida a couple days ago. That run was 776 miles. So I knew that coming out of New York, I think I got like 50 or so gallons. I think I got 40 or 50 or so gallons, and then I filled up somewhere else. Oh, I actually got fuel in Pennsylvania to offset my IFTA costs, which is another factor that a lot of lease operators don't take into account, is we pay IFTA every single day we drive. So yes, it's nice to fill up in the lower IFTA tax states, or the lower IFTA rate states, but it's going to catch up to you on your monthly audit. And I've noticed that too. A lot of lease operators I talk to will get caught up in that. But I take the IFTA tax rate per state into account when I get fuel. I take how many miles I have to do that day, because like I said, I fuel by the load. Like if it's the end of the payroll week, I'm not going to fill up my truck because I'm only going to fuel for that load. If I fill up, I'm going to start. It's a great start to next week because I won't have to spend any fuel. But the way I look at it is, if I fill up on a Wednesday, which is usually our payroll cutoff, if I fill up on Wednesday, so I have a full tank of fuel Thursday for the first week of payroll, and my truck breaks down, all the money that I earned from that last payroll from that Wednesday is now in my fuel tanks. So my thing is, and that's usually how I run my truck. The little insider is, I will fuel by the load. That way if something happens, I don't have to like, oh man, I just spent, you know, $400 in diesel fuel and now I can't even use it. Plus I'm $300 or $400, or I won't say 3 or 4, but like $200 short than what I could have had because I put all my money in the tanks. So that's why I feel by the load. It also comes down to driving habits, acceleration habits, when and where to downshift going uphill, for those that actually understands like engines and stuff. However, if you don't, just let the cruise control do it for you. Don't try and fight the engine, because then you'll burn more fuel. I keep it at 65, you know, same as Eric, but you know, if I have time on a load like this load that I'm on now, I have, you know, this load's going 200 something miles. I know that I'm not going to get down the road and fill up, and I actually still have fuel left over from my last load, and today is Tuesday, it's in the payroll. So I know I'm just going to get just enough fuel just to get down the road, which I believe I have enough. However, where I'm going, I know the fuel prices are higher, so obviously I want to fuel in the lower price, not necessarily lower IFTA, but you want to have the lowest pump price because the fuel recommendation won't always give it to you. For example, on this load, my fuel recommendation is to fill up at a Pilot for $1.98 per gallon. But if I go 118 miles, so half of my trip, the fuel price there, I believe, was, the pump price with my discount is $1.78. So I'm saving 20 cents by driving 100 more miles, which I had to have the fuel to do. But again, it goes to like how you use fuel recommendation. Now, if you think that's too much thinking or too much involved in driving, and you want to be a lease operator, just make a ton of money, that's cool. Drive a fuel recommendation. I mean, I'm not shaming anyone for doing that. I'm just presenting what I do, and that's how I make more money here at Prime. Now, even if I take this knowledge to another company, and then obviously they're going to have different discounts or whatever the case may be, I would still utilize the same knowledge, because as every owner operator at any company will tell you, your biggest expense, your biggest controllable expense, is how much fuel you use or how much fuel you buy. So I'm not gonna, you know, like I said, I'm on a 200-mile trip. I'm not gonna fill up my truck knowing that a full tank of fuel will get me anywhere between 13 and 1500 miles, at least on this truck. I'm not gonna fill up because I've only got to go 200 miles. So I'm only gonna get enough fuel to go 200. Well, I'll do 230, 240 miles, because depending on which direction I go, I know when I deliver this load, if I go north, west, or back south, there are 3 fuel stops within about a 70-mile radius of my delivery that's going to have the cheapest fuel in the state. But again, that's how I run my truck. Like, that's how I think about fuel, because the money I spend on fuel is the money that does not go in my pocket. Like, if I go on home time, I'm not going to fill my truck up and then go home. All my money's sitting in my truck, and I want my money to be on whatever I'm spending at home. So, you know, like I said, obviously I was going to say it was a quick video. Obviously it's not. But that's just what I do on fuel. And that's why I'm always messing with Eric, because I know Jenna always is the 56 mile an hour driver and gets great fuel mileage, and then Eric takes over at night and eats up all her savings. So I'm on Jenna's side on that one. And like I said, I go 65 as well, but I also buy fuel a lot better than people. And also, if I have the time like I do today, I'm probably not going to do 65 the whole way. I'm probably going to drop down to, you know, 58, 59, maybe 60, because I have a lot of time. And 2, I have a really light load, so the more fuel I save on what I have, I might not even have to stop, you know, especially if I can get to one of those other 3 fuel stops from my destination, then I'm gonna do that. So that's it. If you have any further questions or anything, leave a comment down below. I will be answering questions. Or if you need further, like, if you need further I won't say instruction, because it's not really instruction. Further advice, that's it. If you need any further advice or anything like that, like stuff that I look for when I'm picking fuel routes, like I don't mind answering those questions. If I need to do a further video or a part 2, I'll absolutely do that, which I feel like I'm going to do. I feel like I kind of rushed through the video, even though it's kind of long, because I like to ramble. But I will do that. And leave a comment down below. Also in the comments, I have my Instagram. You feel free to send me a message on Instagram if you have any questions or anything like that. I also have on there a forum link, and that forum link is going to the driverlineup.com group forum that we have here as prime drivers and other drivers. So I have, well, not really other drivers, I mean obviously the people who follow us. It's a general forum. Link in the description below. Come talk to us. We do stuff in there. But you know, that's really it, because now I'm starting to ramble and this video's getting super long. But that's gonna be it. You know, like I always say, guys, if you're thinking, you might as well do it logically, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.